The small flat in Johannesburg was a constant struggle for Mama Lindaway. She worked hard, stitching clothes to make ends meet, her eyes tired from the dim light. The sound of the sewing machine was a familiar hum, a reminder of the long hours she put in to provide for her son, Saifo. Her hands moved with a practiced ease, but her mind was always on Saifo and the sacrifices she made for his future. Saifo, 21, slept on the couch, surrounded by his books and laptop. He had always dreamed big. In high school, he'd say, "Mama, I'm gonna make it." Lindiwe would smile, her heart full of hope and worry. She worked multiple jobs to give Saifo a chance at a better life, putting his needs before her own. She remembered the nights she went hungry so he could have a full stomach. The memories stilled her hands and she would pause, looking over at Sifo, her heart swelling with love. When Sifo graduated top of his class, Lindiwe beamed with pride. He got into university, but there was no money for a place to stay. So Sifo stayed home and worked part-time, studying late into the night. Lindiwe would often wake up to find him hunched over his books, his eyes red from exhaustion. She'd make him a cup of tea, and they'd sit together, talking about his dreams. Every morning, Sifo would leave early, his backpack heavy with books. Lindiwe would watch him go, praying silently. "Please, God, keep him safe. Give him strength." She'd kiss him goodbye and he'd smile, a tired but determined smile. The days blended together. Work, classes, study, repeat. Sifo was clearly struggling, but he refused to give up. Lindiwe saw the strain on his face, the exhaustion in his eyes, but she couldn't shield him from it. She could only be there for him, to offer a listening ear, a comforting word. One evening, Sifo didn't come home. Lindiwe's heart sank. She paced the flat, her mind racing with worst-case scenarios. The phone rang, and her world fell apart. Sifo was in hospital, beaten and robbed. The words echoed in her mind, a cruel mantra. She felt like she'd been punched in the gut, the air knocked out of her. The hospital was a blur of pain and fear. Machines beeped, and Sifo's face was bruised and swollen. Lindiwe held his hand, her screams trapped inside. She felt like she was drowning, suffocating under the weight of her worry. The hours ticked by, a slow, agonizing drip of fear and hope. Days passed, and Sifo fought to get better. The police caught the men who hurt him, and Lindiwe felt a fierce anger. She would sit with Sifo, holding his hand, talking to him, willing him to get better. She would tell him stories about his childhood, about his laughter, about his dreams. She would remind him of his strength, of his resilience. As Sifo recovered, Lindiwe's tears flowed. Tears of relief, tears of pride. She held him tight. "You are my hero, my son." Sifo smiled, his eyes shining with tears. "We gonna make it, Mama. We gonna make it big." The days turned into weeks, and Sifo's strength returned. He would walk with Lindiwe to the hospital for checkups, his arm in hers. They would talk about his future, about his dreams, about their plans. Lindiwe would laugh, a deep, joyful sound, and Sifo would smile, his eyes shining with hope. The police investigation revealed that Sifo's attackers were part of a gang that had been targeting students in the area. The community rallied around Sifo and Lindiwe, offering support and prayers. The gang members were caught and brought to justice, and Sifo was finally able to put the trauma behind him. As the months passed, Sifo's determination only grew stronger. He excelled in his studies, making the dean's list and earning a scholarship to study abroad. Lindiwe beamed with pride as Sifo prepared to leave for the UK, knowing that his future was bright. The day Sifo left, Lindiwe's heart was heavy with sadness, but she knew she had to let him go. She watched him walk out the door, a strong, confident young man, ready to take on the world. She smiled, knowing that she had done her job and that Sifo was ready to make his mark. As Sifo settled into his new life abroad, he never forgot the sacrifices his mother had made for him. He worked hard, earning top grades and making a name for himself in his field. And whenever he looked up at the sky, he would smile, knowing that his mama was looking up at the same sky, smiling back at him. Years later, Sifo returned to Johannesburg, a successful businessman with a heart full of gratitude. He went straight to the flat where Lindiwe still lived, still working hard. He walked in, a big smile on his face, and Lindy Wee's eyes lit up with joy. "My boy," she whispered, tears streaming down her face. "My boy, you made it." In that moment, their bond was stronger than ever. They knew that no matter what life threw their way, they'd face it together, as a family.